Hi, we're Planetary Calendar here with the forecast for August of 2026. We're Ralph and Lonnie D. Meekus, the authors of the calendar, and let's get to it. August is active with 4 sign changes among the personal planets. Venus makes her power changing from a dutiful role in Virgo into her masculine rulership of Libra on the 6th. Mercury is moving quickly, starting in Cancer, the crab, entering Leo on the 9th, and ending the month in Virgo on the 25th. Phew, we are glad that he has wings on his feet. Mars leaves his entertaining position in Gemini for a more subdued energy in the sign of the crab on the 11th, and we haven't even talked about the eclipses yet, so let's jump in.
Yes, it's quite a month, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, like fast Mercury is really nice because things move along fast, but 2 eclipses, and then Mars is moving, Venus is moving into her social, dynamic position. Mars is moving into the sign of the crab, is moving into what's called the fall position, which is much more personal and intimate and such. So great time to get someone to give you a massage, I think, right? Mars and
Hey,
sign of the
don't
crab.
ever say no to a massage.
Exactly.
If somebody wants to give you a massage, be there for it.
Now, if you go to the 3rd, you'll see that on the 3rd, which is a Monday, there's a white circle. Isn't it nice to have a white circle on a Monday and the big star next to it? And that's because this includes like one of my favorite aspects, which is basically the sun trine the moon. It means everything is harmonious. And here the sun's in, of course, Leo, the moon is in Aries. And then also the moon is also going to make a trine to Jupiter in Leo, right? And it's going to conjunct Saturn. So this is a bit of a pull me, push me day, because the Saturn conjunct the moon is making people be a little more responsible. But the Jupiter in, Leo saying to the moon, hey, you can be a little bigger than life, right?
Well, and these fire signs, further activate things, and those trines make them stable endeavors. As far as white circles go, it's a really extra special one, I think.
Well, this first week is really hysterical because you got the white circle there and you have another white circle on the 6th, which we'll talk about. But on the Tuesday, there's a little frame around the box, which means there's a long void, of course, right, which is in Aries, which is not the greatest place to have a void, of course. And then on the 5th, there's a black box around the 5th. And there's another star there. And the star says, this is a muscular black box. Where the squares abound. We call them learning experiences.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hard-working day. Be patient and don't lose your temper. Invoke the Taurus cow moon and have a nice lunch. Watch out, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Eagle, and Aquarius. Those fixed signs, watch out, because there's a lot of things that are saying it's going to challenge you. Just work harder.
Well, I remember that the squares are the things that make things happen. So if you're looking for change or accomplishment or, a new idea or a sharing, a coming together of ideas from different directions, this is the day that you can use to that advantage.
Well, it's also very important because remember, this eclipse is coming up. These first couple of weeks here are the ones that are in the clear. On the 6th, you have Venus is entering Libra. Now, Libra is the part of sharing with other people, but it's also the marketplace. It's the place where you say, okay, let's see if we can do this in a way that's fair to both of us, a win-win situation. It's the scales. Okay, so it takes some patience. It's a very good time during these Venus and Libra transits, which are going to go on for a while, to really look at your relationships and make sure they're equitable. Are they in balance?
And to further take the 2 white circles from that week a little bit further, don't ignore the 7th. The 7th, you may want to take the day off and socialize, but
Yes.
there's a lineup of planets above the number. What does that mean? They're all making aspects to the moon. The moon is the unifying socializer for all of these planets in one way or another. So you've got Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn, everything from Jupiter out is making an aspect to that moon in what? Gemini.
Yes.
Socializing, talking, communication. This is the place where you make the connections that are going to help you later on, whether it's in business or personal life.
Yeah, this is really, there's a lot going on here that has a lot to do with what you want to accomplish, because, the moon, the first one was making a trine to Jupiter. And now here you have the sun is making a trine to Saturn. Okay. So, I'm sorry, is that actually a trine? That should actually be a sextile to Saturn. Don't you think? The sun's in Leo and Saturn's in Aries. Oh, no, it is a trine to Saturn. Sorry. No
we
typo
go through
there.
this when we're writing this calendar. We go through this so many times because it's so easy to hit the wrong glyph, So
Yes.
we check and double check and triple check, and then we check again. And then he still questions it when we're giving the forecast. So
it is still correct.
Relax.
We're actually working on a project right now, which we're having to do, which we're helping some other people, and we're having to do the editing and proofing. And people are saying, "Oh, it's got to really be perfect." And I keep thinking to it, you have no idea how simple what you're asking us to do compared to what we usually do is.
And how important perfect is here, because
exactly.
These planets are life and death. I mean, it's just really, and we get so upset if somebody finds a mistake. Of course, we kind of expect that. There's thousands and thousands of pieces of information on here. And we do it every year because we never learned. So we keep punishing ourselves and making this calendar. And so if you find a mistake, please let us know, because we're very quick to get out apologies. But so far...
Or be kind and don't let us know.
So far, we're good.
So the sun trine to Saturn in Aries, it has a lot to do with what's your personal ambitions. And by personal ambitions, how do you want to be a better person? How do you want to structure your life in a way that you find it personally satisfying and personally expressive? It's not just about climbing up the hill. When it's Saturn and Aries, it's about, do you want to improve your physical body? Do you want to improve your mental thinking? Do you want to improve a particular skill set? And this is really bringing it into focus with that sun trine to Saturn on the same day when the moon's going to be making nice sextiles to Mercury and Venus. And Venus is going into Libra, because, it's not just about making yourself better. When you improve your own life, you affect the people around you as well.
And how do you follow up on the first exciting roller coaster of a week that is the first week of August?
Right.
You start the next week with Mercury moving into Leo. What could be more fun than that?
Exactly. Mercury into Leo. And what's interesting about this is Mercury in Leo is what's known as the fall position. And what we really like to call this, not to us, what we like to describe, if you get our book, Reclaiming Astrology from the Patriarchy, you'll know we have very different views of these different positions.
Some misconceptions about what ancient people viewed as important versus what we need to embrace in a modern world.
Yes. And
how'd you like that? That was nice and concise,
That was nice and concise and kind, because you didn't say patriarchy in any place.
I have three planets in Libra. I'm going to be nice.
She's going to be nice. So what it is that when it's in this position, it's very personal. We call it the consultant or counselor role. It's the person, whenever when the planet's in this sign, it's a time for like intimate sharing, for those people you go to when you really need good advice. Right. So a lot of times you'll find among astrologers, they'll have numerous planets in these signs. They make really good counselors. People in the counseling field generally have these positions. People trust them with their feelings and their secrets. And so as Mercury's going in this position, which is a great time for, because Leo is a time when people oftentimes take time off. They're relaxed. They're with the people they love. And you get to share with them. And it's important to share with people so they understand who you are, I think, don't you?
You're right. And so then on Monday, we start off with a 25-hour void of course that is not really involved in the 11th, although it ends on the 11th, but it's all day on the 10th. So although there are some helpful aspects on the line there,
and the moon is in the sign of the Crab.
And active aspects, and you've got a great moon in rulership.
Yes.
You may stub your toe a little bit on your scheduling or forget some important thing. I mean, write things down is really my key to
having list.
Absolutely for a long void course like this.
And it's in the moon of the sign of the crab, which is a lot about shopping. So if you find yourself late for your next thing because you were shopping online, don't be surprised.
But having said that, it's a follower of Jupiter. It's a Jupiter. It's not the worst.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kind of void of course in the sign of Cancer. Although, like you said, you could stub your toe on some kind of homey
scheduling issue. Yes.
Yeah. Ordinary things. Tasks run longer than they should, or
I think it's the best kind of void of course myself. Because mom comes home with stuff.
Well, the moon, if the moon is void of course, it has no destination. But until it changes sign, right? But in Cancer, it doesn't need a destination. No. It's already right where it wants to be.
Sign of feminine leadership.
So let's test that out. And you can all drop us a little note about your experience with long void of course in the sign of Cancer. Let us know your opinion.
Where the mothers would bring the entire tribe down to the coast because it was cold, it was hot, and there was food down there.
Yes.
Crab fests.
Teacher.
Okay, on the Tuesday,
Mars enters Cancer.
And this is the sign of the crab is opposite Capricorn, the sea line. And this is the sign of, once again, it's called the fall position. And once again, it's a position of intimacy. It's a position of consulting with others. So there's a lot going on this month, which is about sharing, which is very, very good because we're going to have on the next day an eclipse that starts off into a total solar eclipse. And it's happening at 20 degrees Leo. So if you have any place around 20 degrees Leo, it's the new moon. You're going to really feel it personally or wherever it is in your chart. And it's going to go on for 2 weeks to the 27th. And during that period of time, people tend to be more emotionally sensitive. So it's good you're going to be prepared to share, right? I think it's going to be a really good time for people to share their feelings. Now, I
think he moved on too quickly from the 11th and gave the 11th a little bit of short shrift. We have something written in the upper part of the forecast of the calendar. You might want to read that. But my observation is that all the stuff that fell between the cracks on the 10th did so for a reason, because all that activity, all those aspects that are going on in the 11th are ones that you should really use and take advantage of.
I think we should read it. Lots of action on this day, starting with Mars entering the sign of the crab. So it's a good time to get those home projects done, or simply go to the beach and have a crab fest. 5 planets are making supportive aspects to the moon, and 2 powerful trines involving Venus, Uranus, Mercury, and Neptune make this an optimistic, if not hectic day. But Mercury and Pluto may put a micro glitch in communications.
Now, wasn't it important to point that day out? That's why we have an asterisk.
Whoever wrote that, they were brilliant.
I'm telling you.
Yes, she was.
I'm telling you, you better hire her.
Yes. Give her a raise.
So we talked about the eclipse a little bit and the start of that eclipse season until, the other eclipse bookends that. And then we're moving on to the 13th, which is one of my favorite days because it's left-handers day, and B, it's the day that we met.
Yes.
Oh, actually, it's the day before we met because the Perseid meteor showers are exact on that day, and that's what led us to meet on the 14th.
I thought we met on the 13th. You sure? We have to go back and check out this.
Yes, we did.
We met on the 13th.
You're absolutely right. It was left-handed.
I was not going to forget that.
Well, see, and then it got confusing because we got married on the 15th. His daughter got married on the 14th. We have all these numbers in that area. And of course, I'm born on the 13th and I'm left-handed.
Yeah,
so
I'm not going to forget the first day I met you.
Let's go.
Okay. So nevertheless.
But there's a void, of course, that starts on the 13th and goes all the way through to the 15th. Yes, I said that correctly. The whole day on the 14th has not only a void, of course, the entire day, but there's no aspects to help you out that are exact on that day.
No, there are not. So, but now remember, we're in the eclipse season. So expect people to be more emotionally sensitive, be a little kinder, be a little more patient with people.
And you might be wondering why that didn't get an asterisk. We thought the outline box was enough to draw your attention
to that. And the big
that
VOC written on the bottom. Yes. Lonnie made me put that in. Put a big VOC on the bottom.
Volatile oil content?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Use some essential oils. That's a very good idea. Yes. Very good idea.
Okay.
Now, the next thing that comes up is on the 17th. It's a frame around
outline box, right.
I'm going to read it because it looks complicated.
The frame is the little fence thing around the full moon and the new moon.
Yes, exactly.
This is called an outline box. When you change your lingo, this is how mistranslations came about from the ancient astrology to the modern, because you have a different way of looking at things when you see it the same word.
And pardon us if you hear noise in the background.
The landscapers are relentless.
Everything grows in Napa. I mean, you can practically look at plants and watch them grow, and they've just been trying to keep ahead of it. When you get your 2027 calendar, you'll notice that we expanded the instructions and included a whole 6 boxes showing all the different little specialized symbols there that are help you get a quick picture of the day.
And they're a little more sequential, and they're a little easier to understand. And we even have a 20-minute video on our website about all of the instructions for the calendar to answer all of your questions.
Because when you have that, it really allows you to use the calendar much more effectively, get much better results. Now, 17th, Monday, really should not have so many agendas demanding attention when the void, of course, moon is already having a hard time making up its mind. Do your best to keep your life balanced, and the day will do much better. Yes.
I'm getting the idea that August is really a hopping, active month.
You know, speaking of hopping month, we're in July, obviously, when we're doing this, and people have been talking what's called Barbeau's basket. And people are like losing their minds. He predicted this. This is like the pivotal time and everything else. And they're kind of in the, I think it was like July 16th. It was the date that everything's focused. And what's important to realize, and we wrote about these particular aspects at the beginning of the year and the overview of the year, and realized that when he did his work, he didn't seem to go back in time to look for any time when this happened before, which is what you need to do. When you do this kind of research, you have to go back historically, look for where these patterns happened again, look at the historical references at the time, dive into it, and see what happened. And so how is it going to repeat? What's happening is you have a lot of sextiles, which are nice, sexy aspects. I mean, in other words, they're fun. They're nice aspects. They're supportive. It's like the relationship between cousins. It's supportive. It's close. And there's aspects between these different outer planets. And then it's finally matched up by the fact that when Jupiter went into Leo, it now sits opposite Pluto. But it's mostly the planets beyond, beyond Jupiter. So Jupiter finally makes the final thing. So it's creating this basket of sextiles. It's supportive. And we're seeing this globally by the fact that when the United States kind of like politically went isolationist, basically. Me first, isolationist, tariffs, blocking out the rest of the world. The leadership position kind of got lost. So what's happening is all these other countries around the world are cooperating in ways they wouldn't normally cooperate. Usually they'd go through the United States. Now they're just going around us. Well, the good thing about this is that we're only a small part of the population. We're about 350 million people, something like that. Out of a population of 7 billion, we're a very small subset of it. China's 1.2 billion, 1.3 billion, though their population is shrinking. Meanwhile, China just wants to do business with people. So they're willing to cooperate more and not dominate the scene. They'd like to dominate it financially, but they'd rather do business first. So you have this whole cooperative venture going on, which that basket describes. All these different economic situations are saying, we'd like to maybe dominate this, but it's more important for us if our people are fed. It's more important for us if we can do business happily with our neighbors. And there is, of course, tension going on the planet. But, in modern times, we actually have fewer wars going on than really much any time in history. And it's partially because of the news media. We know about it. Years ago, there'd be conflicts going on all the time. People wouldn't know about it outside your neighborhood unless it was right where you are. Now everyone knows about things. And so there's a lot of global participation, which is what this basket describes.
That's what I'm talking about, the global sort of global holding hands and coming together. And I think that that's an important thing to focus on. But,
So it's not the end of the world, but it is describing a bit of a new world order.
Exactly. Changes. And isn't that the imperative of the universe anyway, to change? Because in change, you grow.
Yes, exactly. So where were we?
We were somewhere. We were around the 17th.
We're at the 17th. And then this is a relatively calm week, albeit between eclipses. And then you have on the 22nd, the sun enters the sign of the goddess, which most of you know as the sign of Virgo. And it does that on the 22nd at 7:18 p.m. when the sun is also trine the moon on the same day. Now, isn't that nice? And it gets white. It's got a black frame around it, which is what we use to show
the
black border, shows the ingress of the sun. And then there's a star. And so what does it say for the 22nd?
It's an asterisk.
Asterisk.
Darling.
Oh.
They're all stars. No.
Okay. The sun enters Virgo, conjunct the lion's heart, aka Regulus. And remember that Regulus is right about 1 degree of the goddess right now. While making a trine to the Capricorn moon, these two grounded earth energies might be able to smooth out some of the chaos of the previous days. We're looking forward to it. A reassuring day for Virgos and Capricorns. So we're still between eclipses, but this is a little bit of a
earthy groundedness.
Yeah, like grandma's hand on your shoulders thing. It's going to be okay. This stuff passes. Don't worry so much. So don't worry, be happy. And then then it's relatively quiet the first few days. There is a frame around the 24th.
Well, the 24th, you can't really just gloss over that. It's another one like on the 14th.
VOC, big letters.
Interesting again that it's an all day. Starts the day before, ends the day after, but instead of being a 3-day void or even a 2-day void, it really focuses in on that Monday. So this is going to be a Monday of Mondays, especially since the moon is in Capricorn and really would like to get some work,
get stuff done.
So that's going to be challenging. The void in Capricorn is very different than the void in Cancer that we had before. So,
and even though we're still in Leo, which typically is a holiday month, this range right here, these first, like the 22nd through the end of the month to the 31st, is where people are starting to prepare for the coming season, you might say. Everyone goes back to work, people go back to school. But it's kind of a golden time because, it's like your last hurrah before you have to kind of do this stuff. So it tends to be a very high energy time. And that really having that sun, when the sun conjunct Regulus, people feel it. People really do feel that. Regulus is one of the royal stars, as they call it. It's really the heart of the lion. It's just a really beneficial, loving energy.
Well, so rather than trying to get anything done on the 24th, use it as a day to prepare for the 25th, because on the 25th, Mercury enters Virgo as a rulership.
Yes.
And that's early in the morning.
Yes.
Right after the moon enters Aquarius. So you remember, too, that Aquarius in the ancient rulerships that we use is ruled by Saturn, just like Capricorn is. So what happens in Aquarius is an extension of things that where the rules are laid down in Capricorn, the project is implemented in and pushed out to the people, to the masses in Aquarius. So this is a very appropriate way to use that void of course to feed into that day on the 25th.
Exactly. And remember, Venus is now, or Mercury is going to enter right
Virgo.
After the sun. So right after the sun, just a couple of days. So you get a whole sequence along here. And the nice thing about the Venus in Virgo, the sign of the goddess, it's really about working side by side with other people, working practically, taking care of practical matters. So because Mercury throughout the month has been moving fast, it's actually a very good time for like writing projects, communication projects, things like that, communicating generally. But because it's of this eclipse, it would really be a good time for creative projects. It'd be a great time to write poetry or write romantic novels or something like that. Because people are very much, during these eclipse period, people are very much emotionally there. They're very aware of their emotions. It's kind of an interesting phenomenon. We always tell people, watch out, always avoid scheduling anything big and emotional between eclipses. Avoid like operations, anything where you might be under stress. Weddings, preferably, kind of avoid putting them between eclipses, because it just, these things have to be structured, and you're already feeling emotional. Why push yourself over the edge?
Well, and I like how there are 2 days of voids, and this covers 2 full days. So this is very different. This is even
what date are we talking about?
Right after the eclipse, the 28th and 29th are 2 days of voids. And I think that they are void of course so that you can process all the information that came through this pair of eclipses. And I think we should read what we wrote about the 27th, the black box full moon partial lunar eclipse at 4 degrees Pisces. So if you have anything at 4 degrees of the mutable signs, this is going to affect you very, very much. Is very feminine. It has, if you have personal planets at this degree or any of the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, be prepared for this part of your life to be shaken up a bit. That void of course moon will impact the East Coast until 3 p.m.
And notice that the sun is conjunct Mercury that day. Remember we said Mercury's caught up with the sun. Now they're conjunct. They call this combust. So oftentimes at these times, people feel a little frazzled.
So let me clarify that. That's a different void of course that happens on the 27th, and it shows on the calendar 12 p.m., but that's Pacific time. So that's 3 p.m. on the East Coast. That's what we're referring to up in the forecast portion. And then subsequent to that, from 3 p.m. to 9 a.m. or 12 p.m. to 9 a.m. the next day in Pacific time, there's no void, but that starts again the next day for a full void for a full 2 days. And like I said, process all that information because you're going to get a lot between the 12th and the 27th from those 2 eclipses.
Exactly. I mean, because Mercury is going to be conjunct the sun on that full moon, Mercury is going to have a lot of influence over the coming month because it kind of sets the agenda, and it's in the sign of the goddess, the sign of communication, the sign of taking care of practical tasks. So we're arriving out of this eclipse period with a very strong sense of get things done, get them done efficiently, get them done practically, be human. And then as we ended the month and we're coming to the end of our talk here, we have on the 30th, we have a very, very social day. That Sunday is very, very social, lots of aspects to the moon. There's just a sun parallel moon the same day. And then on the next day, you have a Jupiter trine Saturn on the 31st. This tends to be really good for the economies financially. So we'll see how that works out.
Well, let's hope it's very good for us financially, personally, all of us.
Exactly.
So that is August 2026. Yeah. Please see us at planetarycalendar.com, especially if you want to get your 2027 calendars. And like us on YouTube. Sign up for our emails reminding you that we've posted something on YouTube, and we've got, of course, our books. We've got another new book, 5 Keys to a Successful Home Office.
And
gotta love that.
And reclaiming astrology from the patriarchy. So until next time.
Good stars.
And be well.